Good afternoon. I am Alexandra Ewing, and I will be discussing how conflicting goals across organizations can affect our bottom line, but how SMC can leverage this information using economic order quantity to decrease cost and increase profit. So this is an overview of our supply requirements and current costs for part number 641909. And so this chart to the left is showing current costs associated with the part, units in a case 15, price per unit is 112. It costs us $48 every time we place an order, and our inventory carrying costs are 32%. And lastly, we know our annual demand for this is 10,752 units. Using this number, we calculate our weekly demand to get a better idea of what our minimum order quantity should be to ensure that we are still fulfilling orders and avoiding stockouts. And so our units demanded per week are 207, which brings us to a total of 14 cases needed each week. And we're assuming no seasonality that may skew the distribution of inventory levels here for the sake of simplicity. So going to those conflicting priorities here, we've got two proposals from Financial Controller Ferguson and the Purchasing Director Petralski. Both have recommended changes to the current order policy to reduce some costs, but they both have conflicting priorities when making those recommendations. So Petralski is focused on keeping those purchasing costs down, and he wants to do this by ordering in larger quantities and is proposing buying 32 cases at a time. And he's indicated he'd like to avoid ordering in partial cases because doing so may result in incorrect shipments, incorrect quantities, and consequently higher costs. Ferguson's claiming the most important issue is the cost to carry inventory, and he's arguing for ordering 4 cases at a time to keep average inventories low. So let's see how those proposals stack up. So the chart below is highlighting both of those proposals, and the top line is breaking down Ferguson's proposal to keep the inventory low and reduce the cost to carry inventory, suggesting ordering 4 cases at a time results in 179 orders per year with an annual ordering cost of $8,600 and inventory carrying cost of $1,075, bringing us to an annual total cost of $9,676. Alternately, Petralski's focus of keeping those purchasing costs down by ordering larger quantities, he's suggesting 32 cases at a time, resulting in 22 orders a year, massively reducing the annual ordering cost from Ferguson's down from $8,600 to $1,075. However, this is causing the cost to carry inventory to skyrocket, rising to $8,600, resulting ultimately in the exact same annual total cost for $9,676.80. Since there's no difference in the total cost per proposal, we definitely need to consider what the optimal order quantity is to avoid stockouts and keep inventory and costs as low as possible and satisfy all our goals here. And that's where the economic order quantity comes in. This is an accounting formula that's determining the point at which the combination of ordering costs and inventory carrying costs are the least. And this is the most effective quantity to order. So this is seen in the last line of the chart, and using the EOQ formula of 2 times the annual demand times ordering cost all over inventory carrying cost times unit price. This is giving us the best quantity in units, 169.71, which is about 11.31 cases, resulting in 63 to 64 orders a year, reducing the annual total cost from seen in the 2 proposals down to $6,084. On the far right, it is notated as well that the proposals from Ferguson and Petralski are resulting in a 59% increase in that annual total cost from our economic order quantity. We built the chart out here from seen before a little bit further with the EOQ, rounding it to the nearest whole case in either direction. So small variations in inputs are generally having low impact on outputs. Seen here, the EOQ is 11.31 cases. We're rounding that up to the nearest whole case at 12, resulting in a 0.17% increase in annual cost, about $10 a year. And an EOQ decrease to 11 cases per orders, resulting in a 0.04% change, decreased annual cost about $2.20 annually. Continuing that conversation, those small variations in inputs have low impact on outputs. And this graph is showing the dispersion of different order quantities around our EOQ of 170. This formula is pretty robust. So meaning that the necessary rounding of quantity or cases or numbers are not really going to significantly affect the output of the formula. And the box in the graph is showing costs associated with EOQs close to our EOQ of 170. And you can see on variations on either side are not really resulting in drastic increase in cost. And this makes the EOQ a really useful tool despite some of those inherent flaws in the assumptions that we have to make in calculating. This slide is building out and addressing those performance goals that we discussed in the Executive Strategic Roundtable and is showing how those goals can affect our bottom line. So the chart on the left is listing all of the goals, and the right-hand side is detailing some various combinations of these goals and how it's going to affect ordering cost. And we're going to start at the top and get increasingly more complex. So first, we know that Davis wants to reach his goal of inventory reduction of 8.9%. And simultaneously, sales has a goal to increase sales and demand by 9.6%. So if we achieve that goal, we know our new yearly demand is going to go up to 11,784 units. And so to find that new order cost, step one is we need to manipulate and adjust our economic order quantity to reflect the goal of the inventory reduction to 8.9%. And so going forward for all these scenarios, our new EOQ will be 154.61. So we can apply the cost order formula here using the new EOQ and the increased annual demand and determine that the ideal ordering cost to achieve this scenario would be $36.35. Taking the goals a step further, we've added something else. The middle scenario is addressing the inventory reduction goal, the increased sales, and adds in the updated cost of carrying inventory, which is a new goal to reduce that from 32% to 29.4%. And using the same logic as before in the adjusted EOQ, we can apply the order cost formula here in using the new EOQ, increased annual demand, newly reduced inventory cost. And we now know that the order cost to achieve these variables will be $33.39. And lastly, the final row builds it out one step further and is adding in the goal of reducing the cost per unit by 5.2%, which is bumping that down from 112 to 106.18. So the final scenario is calculating the order cost should all of those goals discussed in the meeting be met: inventory reduction, increased sales, reduced carrying costs, reduced unit price. Using the same logic as before, this is leading us to an order cost of $31.66. This slide here is addressing just-in-time. And implementing a JIT system is to reduce ordering costs, minimizing the amount of orders placed, significantly reduces the cost per order because you're not spending as much as you would on a bulk order, minimizing holding costs as you're not holding inventory, you're using items as soon as they arrive. So we've calculated here using the original variables as seen on slide 1. The cost to implement a just-in-time approach would be less than 1 cent per order at 0.001667. So it's clear that SMC is going to have to achieve our goals of reducing costs and increasing profits. The only choice here is to reduce the cost to place an order, which is currently $48. And there's a variety of ways we can achieve that goal. And we've listed here that we think are worth investigating. And first and foremost would be managing our suppliers and our supplier relationships in a two-tiered approach. So first, negotiating with our suppliers. This could be a long-term contract with specific quantities to be delivered on specific dates at predetermined intervals. And this can cut down on unnecessary expediting, potential overtime work. As an added benefit, we're making a long-term commitment. This will likely lead the supplier to having an increased ability to reduce the costs associated with ordering in general and offer us a lower unit price. And second, we propose diversifying our suppliers and beginning the search for an alternate supplier. Now, this is a viable option, but it won't be quick. Dual sourcing would allow SMC to establish a lower cost to place an order up front with a new supplier as part of initial negotiations, and diversifying your sourcing always reduces risk within the organization. Next week, we want to implement some technology and use RFID technology for inventory. Using this in our warehousing and inventory processes can really reduce cost and improve efficiency. It can reduce the time it takes to check inventory. It ultimately can reduce warehouse labor costs. Technology is more reliable. It's cutting down on human error. RFID has real capabilities for real-time status and updates of your assets and an added security layer to reduce some theft and loss. The benefits of this model have been seen in various manufacturers, including Terex, a manufacturer of aerial working platforms. They overhauled their outdated manual sticker system with an RFID system, using electronic tracking and digital inventory management. And this not only provided them just increased data with daily updates and inventory counts, but as well as saved them 60 weeks per year in labor costs, as it was able to, make labor more efficient and cut down on the time to process a part from 6 minutes to 30 seconds. And lastly, RFID leads us to our last recommendation as it enables real robust KPI tracking. And implementing KPIs will help track performance in real time and identify gaps in the system. These metrics offer measurability of effectiveness and efficiency. And KPIs could include tracking labor costs, shipping costs, lead times, inventory count, measurement, performance. The success of this approach was seen in 2010 to 2014 with the efforts of Avaya to revamp their supply chain and implemented a rigorous benchmarking and KPI tracking approach. And really, this type of thinking does require the company to switch from a preoccupation with improving what it was doing and a process of questioning what it's doing and why. This slide here includes our references, and I thank you for your time this afternoon.